Hello everyone, and today we're going to talk about the Dragon Hunter, the Guardian Elite spec of course, and this is the build that I've been playing around with in League as well, in the divisions, trying to climb up, as well as unranked and just having some fun in Stronghold as well, because, you know, sometimes it's good to just change it up a bit and do a ton of damage and, you know, do something a little bit different, and that's what I've been doing with this Guardian build, and I run it a little bit differently than, say, the build on metabattle.com with some variations. You know, these are all very, you know, legitimate changes and differences in the build as well, but especially at the moment because conditions are quite high, so it just gives me a little bit more defense and condition removal and whatnot, and survivability. So let's go through the build. It's not going to be a massively long video, hopefully, because you just want the information, and obviously if you don't know, go on other sites and you don't know this build in the first place, then, you know, it's all new information, you want to get it quick. So what I'm going to talk about quickly is the fact that Guardian is always very, very slow, so, you know, you want some kind of swiftness, some kind of movement speed as well. So what I've gone for is the Rune of the Traveller, and most people are going for the Trapper Rune, which I will just show you quickly here. But what that gives you is really good. It's gain 2 seconds of stealth when using a trap skill. Obviously you get super speed for 2 seconds as well if you use a trap, so, you know, there's a lot of benefit to that. You get extra condi damage, which is, you know, extra burning because that's all you're really doing, and extra burning duration. But overall this isn't a lot of speed. 2 seconds of stealth is nice to get out of horrible situations, but if you're locked down anyway, it's not going to matter. You know, there's different reasons why this is quite good. So I thought, okay, this is working for me okay in, you know, some games, but you know what? I still feel really, really slow. So what can I go for? I went for Rune of the Traveller. So I've got 25% extra movement speed permanently. We've got extra boon duration, which is always good for Guardians anyway, because we're getting a lot of boonage. And then we've got the extra boon duration and condition duration as well. So, you know, that's going to help with our extra condition, with our burning condition as well. And then we've got extra stats coming out. So 8, 12 and 16. So, and that's to everything. So that's pretty good, you know, not too bad. We're getting a little bit of condition damage. It's not really anything. 36 extra is, you know, not really worth talking about. But the reason that I've gone for that again, you know, mainly for the movement speed. So let's talk about the weapons really quickly. Longbow, obviously, is the Dragon Hunter weapon. So if you go into the Elite Specialization Dragon Hunter, you are able to get the longbow. Longbow is pretty good. Obviously, it gives you ranged attacks. You have a lot of damage that comes out from this build, especially with Marauders. You know, True Shot is pretty nice, as well as being a physical projectile. Creates a powerful attack that pierces through enemies. So you go through the armor there as well, and that's pretty good. Deflecting shot, fire a missile that blinds enemies and destroys projectiles. Destroying a projectile increases damage dealt. So if someone's firing towards you or at an angle and you destroy that projectile, you know you're going to do some extra damage, because I guess in a way it's almost, you know, putting that projectile back into them. And blind is obviously very good as well, very strong for them to miss their next attack. Symbol of energy is quite nice, so fire a slow arcing arrow that explodes on impact to burn targets and sear a symbol of energy into the ground. We get some extra vigor, as well as the 2 stacks of burning, and that's obviously, you know, combo feel light. So let's have a look at the combo finisher we can do, because we've got a nice little blast finish, combo finisher leap here as well. So that actually combos up not too badly, just in case you would so wish, as I use a different skill and screw it up. But of course, we're going to be able to get some nice retaliation and everything else that comes along with that. So we got the knockback as well when we were just hitting, so we saw stability, but we'll talk about that in a moment when we go through the traits. Again, you know, this 5th skill is pretty good, because you form your arrows into a barrier and deal damage at the location. Really, really nice. When you get, let's just have a look at this skill here in totality. There we go. So you fire your arrows down, and then the last hit makes this kind of barrier around them, and they can't get through it unless they, you know, have got stability or whatnot as well. And they're locked in position. You can actually cause a lot of damage. They're locked in place. You can even get to them and definitely get a trap off, or, you know, you can get all your damage together with your team and really lock down your opponent quite well. You know, it's a really nice ability, and you know, nice to combo up with your other abilities and other people's as well. So locking down your target is pretty nice. You've got some nice knockbacks on your longbow for your traits as well. And then we've got the utility. So the trap heal is very nice as well. You get days off, so then that's going to help you out if you need to use your heal and someone's really up close and personal. So heal yourself, imbue your light into a trap. Enemies that trigger this trap are damaged and blinded as the light returns to you for a second heal. So that's obviously very good. You get a nice amount of healing, and it's actually quite bursty healing as well, to be honest. But also that blind is very, very nice. You get the regeneration, and the daze is very good. So this really helps, it staggers them a little bit so you can recover. You can also get away. Because I've got Traveller Rune, I can move away a little bit quicker if I really need to. And you can combo out with some nice traps as well. So you can actually use your heal as an offensive skill in terms of, coming back, getting your HP back up if they're quite low themselves and you've been having a little bit of a tough fight. You can get the days off and you can get some nice damage back into their face, which is always very good. Then we have, of course, Judge's Intervention. We all know what this does. So you teleport to your target and burn it by foes. So free burning, extra fury coming out through your traits as well as the healing. Break stun as well is very good. So if you're in trouble and you need to try and break a stun, you target someone else or target the target you're currently on. And then use your meditation to get out that stun. Always very good. Then we've got Test of Faith. So lay down a trap that creates a ring of weapons that punishes enemies that attempt to cross their threshold. That's a very nice ability. Obviously the cripple is good, and as well as the damage that you can see currently coming out from that as well. And actually with traps you can do some nice fun stuff, because we have some new virtues as well with Dragon Hunter. This first one is Spear of Justice, and it's a pull. So it's not very good to show on this golem, unfortunately. I'm in the wrong place. But if I put down the trap there, you can see that the golem's currently in the trap. You can see that he's getting cripple, and you can see the amount of damage that came out there as well. Not too bad. We get about 3k damage there, as well as some extra burning and whatnot that comes out as well. It's the cripple. But if we say we have the trap out here and the golem's outside of the trap, put the trap down, we get the pull onto, there we go, you can see exactly what that's about. So on the second activate of Spear of Justice, you throw a spear out and you throw it into the golem. He is then attached to you, and then I feel like I almost say get over here like every time, I think, from Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and I pull people into my traps. So I'm not necessarily just jumping onto them, they're dodging away, just assuming that I'm going to massively plant a trap down on the ground. I'm actually going to plant my traps sometimes outside of the area that they're in, even though they can see it and they know what's going on. But if I know that they've used stability or stun breaks or whatever, and I'm not blinded, I pull them into that trap sometimes, and it's really, really beneficial. Sometimes surprising, especially if you're coming into a team fight, and you really need to pull a target out of, a lot of healing, a lot of sustain, especially if someone's going for a down, you can pull them out of that, or for a res and such and so forth. There's some nice control with that, and also, combinations with the traps as well. So nice to think about that. Also, then we have Contemplation of Purity. The Condi pressure is pretty hard at the moment, so you can convert the conditions you are suffering into boons. Very nice, as well as obviously it is a break stun. And then there is obviously Renewed Focus. But in the build on metabattle.com, you have Dragon's Maw, which is obviously very useful as well. But the reason I'm using Renewed Focus is because it gives us extra condition removal, gives us extra stability and extra boons. We'll get another one of our Spear of Justice up if we've used all of our virtues. So if you remember what Renewed Focus does, you shouldn't really be using it unless you've used all of your virtues to a degree, obviously, unless you need, massive condition damage, condition removal as well. So if we've used, say, all of our virtues, there we go. We need them back. Renewed Focus. You're invulnerable for a bit, and you get them back, and then you've got more condition removal on your second skill, more stability. Obviously, you've got your block that comes out from the third skill as well, and then you've got your pull back as well. So Renewed Focus, very good. It's quite a low cooldown. It's always been a good ability, and it's very defensive. So you can use Dragon's Maw if you want to, but for my survivability at the moment in leagues and for other games I've been playing, I've found that this ability is a lot more useful in my survival. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But we'll quickly talk about Shield of Courage. So grants Aegis periodically, obviously as the passive, and then when you activate it, like I said, you grant Aegis to everyone. You create a shield in front of you that blocks attacks. You are vulnerable from the sides and behind while the shield is active. So from the front, obviously the attacks are blocked there as well. Pretty good. I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, we've got the other virtues as well without the Dragon Hunter, but other than the usual thing, this is actually quite a nice animation as well, really, to be honest. And it goes well with the Dragon Hunter, the kind of theme of it as well. Let's have a look at the animation. It's pretty sick. So, there's your shield. Let's go on to the actual build itself. Obviously, I'm using Marauder Amulet there, and we've got Sigil of Blood. And you might think, what's you doing used on the focus? Focus does damage in this case as well, so let's just roll over. So create a shield to block the next 3 attacks. If the shield is not destroyed, it explodes and damages nearby foes. So you can use that in a combination, of course, to get some extra damage off. It is a blast as well. So yeah, pretty good. Not bad defense. Obviously you can get some blind off. I have been using shield a lot as well, actually, to be honest. Let me just get out of combat and I can show you, because it's good defensively. It's got a nice knockback, obviously, being the shield. It's got a nice amount of protection with it as well, which really can help in different situations. So it's really up to you. I mean, how you feel you're going. I mean, I've been using shield a hell of a lot more, also just because I really like the shield. Let's have a look quickly. So create a shield waving in front of you that damages foes while giving protection and Aegis to you and up to 5 allies. There we go. It actually does a little bit of damage as well. It's not too bad. Gives you some burning, of course. But yeah, I like the Shield of Absorption as well, so that's always going to be very useful for the knockback as well. Of course, you can use that while running around. They changed that a while ago, so that's always useful as well if there's any projectiles coming in. So you can protect your allies and yourself, so you've still got a little bit of that support utility for your team if you need to. Obviously, the focus is a little bit more selfish and obviously, gives some damage off as well. Let's quickly change back to the focus. I do enjoy playing this build. It's pretty fun as well. I wouldn't say going into ranked is a good idea unless you're very au fait with it. So if you are going to play, it's like anything. If you're going to play a new build, make sure that you know it well. Go into ranked, practice against golems, get some combos worked out. I'm not going to show you a massive amount in this build in this video. Hopefully I'll do a gameplay video as well. But you want to make sure you're working out everything. You need to know how the build works. Meta Battle has some nice combinations. I'm going to quickly talk about those as well, because I find sometimes it's quite nice to talk about that site and in conjunction with some of my videos I've done. So I'm going to do that a bit more in future. But for example, Shield of Wrath can be used offensively to add substantial damage to your burst, or defensively against bursts. And you can, of course, cast it when you're stunned. So Shield of Wrath obviously is what I'm talking about right here, and that's the example from Meta Battle. So you want to go there and have a look at some of the combos that are available to you, because there are a lot there as well. It talks about Wings of Resolve as well being very, very useful for your condition removal, but also for the heal as well, for yourself and allies. So not only is it just a condi removal and heal, but you can see you can actually move quite far. Let's have a look at the range there. So that's pretty nice, it's quite a good escape utility. So you want to make sure you're trying to use that as often as you can. It's obviously got a passive heal, but you get a nice amount of burst healing through that, as well as the conditions and the leap. So that's another good use of renewed focus. I keep burping halfway through our talk. But yeah, you want to try and bring that out as much as possible. I don't think there's anything else really I need to talk about. There's loads of stuff in Meta Battle and other places where you can look at combos and stuff. I'm not going to go through it too much. There is a good skill on the longbow, which means that your deflecting shot is unblockable. so it's good to try and get some good damage in as well while they're trying to block some attacks potentially as well. You know, so if you're going to another dragon hunter and they're trying to get some blocks off as well, you know, there are different things which are quite useful in this build. I'm not going to go into it too much, otherwise I'll be here all day like I am sometimes with my other videos. So we're going to go through the traits quick, going for virtues, valor, and also Dragon Hunter there as well. So inspired virtues now apply the following boons to allies when activated. So might, regeneration, and protection. So that just buffs up, you know, buffs these up as well. Unscathed contender, so deal more damage while under the effects of Aegis. We have Aegis at the moment, we have Aegis everywhere in this build. We also then going over to virtue of retribution, so gain retaliation when you activate a virtue. Hence why we've got so much coming through on here. So, you know, getting those attacks back over towards your opponent is very, very useful. Absolute resolution, activating virtue of resolve, removes conditions which we talked about before. And the passive is a lot stronger, so extra healing coming out from that. And that condition removal, very important at the moment especially. Power of the virtuous, so deal extra damage for each boon you have. We're a guardian, we're always having boons. We've also got extra boon duration with 10% there and 5, so that's very, very useful. So we're going to have more damage over time. And then we have finally indomitable courage. So of course activating virtue of courage breaks stun and grants stability to yourself and allies there. I should say yourself really, but hey ho, it's definitely to yourself and allies. There you go, just showing you. Valor next, and we're going to talk about, there you go, Valorous Defense, sorry. Gain Aegis when you are struck while below the health threshold, so you get some extra Aegis there as well. Smiter's Boon, so you get Smite Condition when you use Smite Conditions when you use a healing ability, so cure a condition and damage nearby foes, double damage if a condition is cured. So it's a little bit of extra pressure on your heal. Courageous Return, so virtue of courage is recharged when you revive an ally or when you rally, so that's always very good obviously because you get your extra stability and you get your blocks coming back up. Strengthening numbers, so nearby allies gain toughness based on your effective level, so obviously you can know extra toughness is good. Could go for Stalwart Defender if you're going for the shield. Obviously recharge is quite nice, and a grant Aegis to allies when you block an attack, possibly, but you know, extra toughness is always nice. Might of Protector, gain might when you block attacks. So obviously, you know, if you're blocking attacks through Shield of Wrath and whatnot, you're going to be able to get some nice might stacking as well. And then finally we have Monk's Focus, so use a meditation skill, heals you and grants fury to allies in a radius. Meditation skills have reduced recharge. We've got 2 meditation skills, we want those recharges lower of course, and we want to get some nice fury. So if you can combo fury up with say your traps, and you are able to do a ton of damage. Remember, you can do some nice channels as well as using your meditations, so you're going to be able to get some nice fury off as soon as you're coming in there. Basic attack even on sword is quite a lot of damage there, you can see. Right, so obviously you know you can do that same thing as well while you're trying to use your longbow as well. Finally, let's go into Dragon Hunter. Here we go to Virtuous Action. The Guardian's resolve has further increased, allowing virtues to be manifested as physical aspects. So there you go, you can see all the different virtues you got there. Piercing Light traps daze enemies when activating and have reduced recharge times. So, you know, we get days off for Test of Faith and we get days off for Purification there as well. So it's good that, you know, it's a heal and it gives daze and blind. It's always very nice. Defender's Dogma, so blocking an attack causes justice to reach its maximum charge. And maximum charge is a state, apparently, on Guild Wars 2 wiki. Of Justice's number of attacks to trigger counter. The next attack by the Dragon Hunter will trigger Justice. So that's always very useful. That's the Spear of Justice there, of course, and that applies at burning as long as they are within the range of the caster. What's the range of that? 1,200. There we go. So that kind of explains that to a degree. Hunter's Determination, so you gain Aegis and drop fragments of faith a fragments of faith trap at your location when you're inflicted with stun, daze, knockback, pull, knockdown, taunt, float, fear, launch, or sink. Don't know why I like saying that. Unleashes multiple fragments into the area. When triggered, each fragment grants Aegis to allies as long as they don't already have Aegis. And got the cripple there and whatnot as well. It's pretty nice. It's not too bad to go for. I don't think really anything else is that useful. That's not very useful. I don't know, it could be. But this is pretty good, you know. Fragments of Faith is a nice trap as well. Gain extra damage and Aegis as well is very useful. So, what next? We have Pure of Sight. Deal bonus damage based on your distance to the enemy. You get more damage if you are more than 600 away. So let's do one shot there. And then you want to try and be as far away as possible. Look at that. So you can see how much damage there was extra done there as well. It's just obvious, really. I don't really need to explain that too much. And then we got Heavy Light. So this is quite nice. Longbow arrows knock back when enemies are within this range threshold. So it's 240, so it's quite close. And then you gain stability when you knock an enemy back. And there's 7 seconds of stability as well. So let's have a look. There you go. Knock back, we get stability as well. Obvious. Don't really need to explain that too much. Don't have your auto attack on like me. I'm just doing it for really the purposes of this video. But yeah, so that's really the traits as well. It's a fun build. I'm going to try and do some gameplay. Again, you know, I'm fairly new to it myself, so I'm still trying to work out all the intricacies that you can only really know from playing it rather than just talking about it. I'm not the biggest Dragon Hunter expert in the world. Obviously, it's easier for me to cast it because I can understand the main abilities and the main functions of the build. I mean, it doesn't get played in high competitive play on EU. Sometimes it does on North America for Pro League, but, you know, this build has some issues. You know, I need to go for renewed focus to get the extra condition removal. Whether or not you go travelers or not in, you know, high-end competitive is another thing as well, because you need movement speed. It's very slow. It's very susceptible to the condition damage as well. You can get bursted quite easily. You know, it's not got as much sustain as other classes. Once you've used a lot of your main abilities, you're kind of left in the wind for a while. So really you have to know when to pull out your nice combination damage and your burst, because you want it to be very, very effective. You want to make sure the enemies used a lot of their cooldowns, and being patient is very, very key, I feel. But if there's anything I've missed in this build that you know because you've been playing it a lot more than myself, then of course make sure you put something down in the comments below. But really, I'm just letting you know about a build that I've been playing, and it's been fun. It's been out there for a while, but I just changed a couple of bits and pieces and playing it my way, and it seems to be working. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the future for more Guild Wars 2 action.